What's up, my Galaxians? Well, Gala Music's been a complete whirlwind the last week, honestly. And yeah, we want to jump into some of those things that we have to cover. Since it's been not a lot of time, I'm going to let another like day or two go by before I give away those two hats. If you do want to get entered for the hat, click that link up there. And you got to just comment the word hat. Some people misspelled it as well. If it's misspelled, you won't be entered into the drawing. So let's go ahead and jump into some things that have been happening. The very first thing that kind of gutted a lot of people was Sarah Buxton has been let go as the CEO of Gala Music. If you do watch my videos and you already knew that this had happened, you knew my assumption, which was that we were waiting for resignation letter, which we kind of got, not really. If you want my personal opinion, this is my personal opinion. I don't know anything behind the scenes. Everybody always thinks I know everything because I make good guesses sometimes. My guess is she was canned. Okay, that's just flat out probably what happened, based on obvious things such as like I was supposed to interview her about the white paper, and so she obviously didn't really know this was coming. I do wish her the best of luck. She was definitely a beloved, very loved person in the community. We really appreciated her. I could speculate on the reasons why, if she was just blowing money or wasn't making progress, or who knows. There's a change in leadership, and that change in leadership we're going to discuss. So Bitbender basically dropped an update for everybody announcing, Sarah Buxton, the CEO, is no longer with them, and then said nothing else specific besides, obviously you can try asking, but they're not going to tell anything because of privacy and legality, yada, 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 which is why, like I said, my guess is that she has been let go and is moving on somewhere else. I had hoped maybe she was just taking a different position, but it looks like she's gone. So the person who's coming in is Leila Steinberg. She's going to be the president of music at Gala. That's right, president, not CEO. So I don't know if Eric Benefactor is taking back over that role or not. Essentially, Leila Steinberg, just so you know, she has actually been with Gala Music in some capacity since 2002, like October 2002. She has been on the advisory board, and I'll show you where that's proven as well. But this lady, she was the mentor and manager for Tupac. So that's pretty cool. She's been like a professor. She's been pretty heavy in the music industry. Has had lots of folks that she's been connected with. Right now, I think she's been pretty active with Earl Sweatshirt, which we recently saw come onto the music site. And she's also an educator, has done some activism as well. We'll discuss that later as well, about the whole quote social justice kind of thing and the knee jerk reaction that it has in today's current day and age, at least the United States of America. Could be different around the world, kind of how that comes across. And tomorrow, she is going to be on Ahead of the Game with Bitbender for a quick little basically interview. So a little bit more about her. She is 61 years old. She's the founder of Aim for the Heart, a 501 nonprofit that helps at-risk youth, find their voice. She does a lot of stuff through artistic stuff. She's an American manager, businesswoman, educator, writer. She does have a lot of experience in the music industry, in an executive function. So that is something good. Her Twitter is dead. There's nothing really there. If you want to hear a little bit about her, she did this interview with this Allison Interviews about a month ago. She does even mention decentralization, metaverse, and NFTs in here. So, she's definitely at least up to date on what's trying to happen and trying to break the mold, talking about taking care of the artists and stuff. So she does sound like somebody that would be, that can be really good for Gala Music. Of course, time will tell. The other thing that this is kind of foreshadowing with the switch in leadership is, of course, the music launch token launch, which is going to happen literally any day here, is what we're expecting, which I already discussed as well. Don't expect it on, or I expect a couple of exchanges. I wouldn't be surprised if it's not a United States one, in which case we'll have to use like Uniswap or something like that as well. I do want to mention a couple things that, Gala Music has not really not capitulated on, like come through for, or I don't know if you want to use the word promises. So a couple things. First off, just pulling this old article back. This was back in October 2022. just showing that, Death Row, they had said that they were taking kind of an advisory board position in Gala Music and was going to be the exclusive metaverse home of Death Row Records. And we've seen Snoop Dogg launch on a bunch of other NFTs and stuff like that. So I don't know if that's dead or if that's changed their relationship with Snoop Dogg. I don't blame Snoop Dogg. I mean, he's always trying to find money, right? Or just doing what's I don't know, good for him and his career and his life. Right down here though, this is specific. So from his team, Death Row Records, is Nick Adler, who is on the Gala Music Advisory Board. And then this is where I was saying right here, Tupac's former manager, Leila Steinberg, was also on the advisory board. So she's been with us, essentially, is what I'm saying. So not completely brand new, probably brand new to some of what the decisions are right now. So we're still waiting for the Snoop Dogg box, the Snoop Stash box. We were promised something from Snoop Dogg many months ago. I haven't heard anything from that since then. So we'll tack that on to the promises that need to be kept, in case Jason or Bitbender is watching. Kings of Leon, same thing. We don't know what's going on here. We know their album was completed back in September. It was like 14 tracks or something. Supposedly they were going to come on to Gala Music as one of the drops, which sounded cool. They have already, it looks like, concerts planned for this summer, which is probably going to be with their new album and stuff too. So another kind of promise thing that we're just waiting to kind of hear like what is going on with that. Probably legal stuff. What I do want to point out is I really, 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 really want Gala Music to stay focused on what we're trying to do and actually breaking the mold. I am really concerned just because of like the past experience there that people might fall into old habits and Gala Music will just turn into another label, which is not what is basically the end goal. Like if you want to use the term nebulous and everything, that's fine. Leila Steinberg has talked about giving more autonomy and decision making to artists, which is great. But I really want to focus on which artists are engaged with this platform and which artists are actually bringing us like quality and engagement, right? Because anybody could come on here, any of these artists, right? And just drop their tracks, make a few bucks, whatever. But who's in the Discord? Who's dropping all access passes? Who's really trying to engage? And who has the potential to really like pop off? Because these lower tier artists or, artists that are like going to be breakout artists, they're the ones that were going to absolutely benefit the most from us, and we're going to benefit the most from them. So I really am hoping that like, a lot of these artists, such as like Please and Thank You, September Morning, Earl Sweatshirt, Desiree. Here's some of the just featured artists. City of Sound. I cannot downplay this enough. I really, really hope Gala Music does not drop the ball on this and totally screw this. Because if they upset, these artists that have been with us, have been really building with us, and they leave, I mean, there's going to be a hole. And I just really hope Gala Music stays focused, knows what they're doing and what their actual goal is. For so many of these artists, these artists that we're talking about right here, Gala Music needs to do a lot of like the front end work. And if they want to make a label just so that the whole politics crap on like Spotify and everything where they just hide independent artists, like I know City of Sound has been an independent artist for like years, right? And it makes it so difficult for them to reach out there and actually make big connections. But you got to look at these two and think of these artists too, these featured artists, how many of them can we really plug into other things like Gala Film, Gala Games? I've said this so many times, like some of the cinematic music of City of Sound, they easily can be a huge asset to Gala Games. I mean, some of the music you listen to, right? If you just even if they just took the words out or even just made cinematic music with Nova on the violin and Jay piano and Andrew guitar and bass and everything. I mean, you could be wandering around Miranda's, come into a like wonderful looking, just runic old temple-y area, right? And just the music could be played. There's just so many places to plug in. And with Gala Film, right? I've talked about how cinematic some of like that music is. And I know it's difficult for a lot of these artists to like, booking their own shows, getting the concert stuff going around the nation. They need help. They need basically like some kind of manager person to really help out with that so that they can focus on the music and focus on the fans and connecting with their fans. That is the whole point of this Gala Music and this platform is one, to empower our artists, and two, so we can connect with them. And Yeah, so I just feel really like revved up about that today. I don't know why. I just want to really throw that out there. If Leila Steinberg is hearing this, like that's what I want to see. So I really hope Gala gets everything together really quick with this change of leadership, and they really communicate with these artists, because communication is by far the absolute number one worst thing about Gala is always the communication, either the way it comes across, the way it's announced, or just complete dead silence. Communication is also always the most difficult, and painfully, people have to kind of dig around in Discord, or you're smart and you just sub to the Wookiee, because he freaking lives in the Discord and he's going to give you the great update and breakdown of kind of what's going on. So that's a Gala music segment. I'd love to bring Jason Bitbinder Brink on the show, maybe talk about some things in the white paper, specifically points in the all access store. It sounds like in the white paper they are changing it to where now we're not getting extra points for the experiences. I don't know 100%. It sounds like they're still kind of working it out, but the whole point of holding music against some of these artists and stuff is so that you basically are getting more or less like a discount on some of the purchases for some of the products and everything. um, and so if there's no point, or that doesn't happen, then the only like benefit is if the artist decides, hey, this Wookiee's holding 20,000 music against us. I want to go ahead and offer those kind of folks first crack at our next track, or whatever it happens to be. So anyways, Gala Music, please have good communications with your artists. Reach out, make sure you're talking with them, make sure they know what's going on, because they are obviously what matters the most and are going to bring the most success to Gala Music. One last little thing, because people, they definitely saw the post on Discord, kind of mentions like social justice and activism and stuff. So I want people to kind of just try to chill out a little bit about that. Okay, maybe watch her video as well. I know that's a knee jerk reaction for a lot of Americans, because it is true, the whole like woke go broke kind of thing. I think that's what people are like hearing when they like read that, and that's kind of their concern, because obviously we've seen so many huge companies get completely demolished in the last 3 years because they've decided to just completely ignore their audience, or have any kind of like focus groups or anything, and then they try to push whatever kind of agenda that they want to push. We've seen Disney down 50%. We've seen Budweiser just get completely like obliterated. Just things like that. And I think the fear for folks was that they want to make sure that Gala Music is focused on the main thing at hand. But if you're doing any kind of like like on the side nonprofit stuff, volunteering your time, really trying to help out people, there's obviously nothing wrong with that at all, right? Like, I mean, it's really commendable to offer your time, or like Jason Brink did. He like is having people gather canned food and The Walking Dead, and he's going to go out and buy that many cans and donate to a food bank, right? That is activism, right? And really, and social justice if you want to use it. But I think the word has gotten really skewed in America, and that's what makes everybody just go whenever they hear stuff, because it just scares people. Okay, so not trying to get too political on that, just trying to lay that out there, because I know Jason Brink or some other folks around the world are kind of confused why people have this kind of like knee-jerk reaction to it and stuff. And I think that's just because America's a center point for a lot of this stuff. Whew, that was a lot to go over. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. Gala Music Token is going to be launching very, very shortly. As always, stay warm, Wookiees.